Hello, my Cancer friends. This is Kristen Redman, Astrological Intuitive, and today we are going to be talking about the planetary influences they're going to be making up 2021 for you. Now, 2020 was quite a year for Cancer because we had eclipses happening in your sign, and eclipses are times that bring new beginnings. Not only did we have the eclipses occurring in your sign, ushering in new energy, new beliefs, new understanding, but we also had two full moons in your sign in 2020, which is pretty rare. The year started out on a full moon in your sign, and it is ending on today, actually, the day that I'm doing this, on the 29th of 2020. This is the last full moon that's happening in 2020, but it's also in your sign, which I think is very fitting. Full moons represent cycles of completion, endings. And 2020, of course, is an ending for all of us in a lot of ways, for the stability and the comfortableness, the comfort that we know, the security that we know has been turned upside down, and we're in a process of rebuilding and regenerating, and comfort and security fall in your sign of Cancer. So I find it very interesting that we would have these full moons beginning and ending this year to remind us that the comfort and security comes from within, and that it comes with acceptance. And so this year, going into 2021, what's interesting is that there is no full moon in the sign of Cancer, just the new moon. So I think it represents just a lot of new beginnings that can come from you, and the intuition that builds up inside of you. Now understand that when I do this is just a general overall view for Cancer. It's just a general sign for all Cancers. If you want to dig in deeper for your specific roadmap that I call that your birth chart is, to see how these energies are influencing you specifically, there's a link below for reading with me, which I do by FaceTime, Zoom, phone, and hopefully again in person here soon enough as well. But to really understand how these energies directly impact your chart, and what that roadmap is that says why you're here and what you're here to learn this lifetime. And so yeah, let's begin with it, huh? So let's start out in the area of finances, Cancer. What's interesting is that through 2023, you are going to be having Saturn, the planet that stabilizes things, moving through one of your financial sectors in your chart. Hasn't been there for 30 years. This is going to be bringing some major stability to you that comes through paying off debt, because this is the 8th house that deals with other people's money. So this is certainly going to be a year where you are focused on paying down debt. You are focused on savings, you're focused on investing, and another aspect to it too, because the 8th house deals with other people's money. This could be inheritance that comes through a partner as well. So not only do we have Saturn stabilizing this energy, really what it's asking you is, what are you responsible for? What kind of plans do you have? What is your long-term outlook in this area of paying off debt and staying debt-free as well too? That's what Saturn's going to be asking you through 2023. But behind it, we have Jupiter, the planet of luck, that hasn't been there for 12 years. Jupiter is the planet of just blind, dumb luck. Okay, so when Jupiter goes through that 8th house of yours, it's going to bring opportunities for money and windfalls to come through. Not necessarily through your own doing, it's through, let's say, another stimulus thing, right? Because that's other people's money. Through your partner, maybe your spouse gets a raise, maybe your spouse gets inheritance that comes through. Maybe your spouse made a good investment and it's coming through and it's working through you. These are things that Jupiter is going to be working on in that area throughout this year. Now Saturn, luckily, even though Jupiter may bring these things through unexpectedly, Saturn is going to make sure that that financial situation stabilizes, and that there's a solid plan for moving forward for the next 30 years, right, in terms of that. Now let's move on to the home sector, right? Because home is so important to Cancer. You represent the fourth house of home and family and roots and childhood in the world of astrology and in the zodiac wheel. So for home this year, it's going to be interesting because Mars is coming through and it's bringing some new energy through where it hasn't been there for 2 years. The last time Mars was there was at the beginning of 2019 for you, and it's coming through again. Now what Mars does is Mars is just this planet full of fire, and it blows out any stagnated energy in the house that it lands. It's coming through and it's saying, okay, we wanted to initiate some changes to the home and to the family back in 2019. Maybe those things haven't happened. Now it's coming through full force, and you have the confidence and the energy to make it happen. So one of which can be home remodeling. Let's say you have some renovation projects you got on the list of things to do in 2021. They are going to be happening. Oh, they are going to be definitely happening. I tell you what. But it's also about family. All right. Let's say these are things that some changes you attempted to initiate back in 2019 with a partner or with your children or with your mom, saying, look, I need this to happen for me to be happy, for things to work for me. I need this. Maybe those things didn't happen. Now you'll have the confidence and the courage to say, look, I need this to change. Also with Mars going through that fourth house of home and family, let's say you're not committed. Let's say you're not in a marriage. Mars coming through is going to really give that push behind you to start getting some roots. Mars coming through could push you to move your residence to an area that's more fitting for who you are now. Mars coming through that fourth house can really bring some interesting energy through in terms of home. Just expect changes is really what I have to say about that area. So let's move on to love and relationships, right? So what's going to be happening is the planet of love, Venus, is going to retrograde this year, and it doesn't retrograde every year. It retrogrades every 2 to 3 years. Now what's going to happen is when this guy retrogrades, it's going to be in your house of marriage, partnerships, and relationships. Now I can see this in a couple of different ways. Okay, for those of you that aren't in a committed relationship, I can see Venus retrograde looking to the past. I could see somebody from the past reemerging. Okay. And especially in that time frame when the Venus retrograde hits, which is December 19th, and that goes through January 29th of 2022. So towards the end of the year, I would be on the lookout for that. Especially if this is somebody that we don't want to repeat cycles with, okay? Because when Venus retrogrades, it has us look to the past for repetitive cycles that happen from our heart center. So this is how we love, but also how we spend our money. Now we know there's a lot happening for you in terms of you really objectively looking at your finances, how you spend your money, how you make your money, how your partner's money plays a part of that. But it also goes in for how you regulate give and take love in your life as well too. Major reassessment year for that. What it's really calling on though for you to really see with crystal clear eyes and not through rose-colored glasses in a relationship is to look at things honestly. There's a lot of truth that comes into this and transparency and honesty that has to be communicated. Okay, so whether you're looking for somebody new, you need to be honest and transparent with yourself on what it is you're looking for. But if you're in a relationship, there's going to be something called on you for exploring what it is that you really want in relationships and being honest with the other person in that too. Okay. So let's go into what the eclipses are doing for you this year. Last year, the eclipses were doing quite a number on just reassessing who you are and what you want in general, right? Really bringing that to the forefront. This is the year where these things start to get legs. You planted the seeds in 2020. 2020 really gave you a chance to introspect and go within. This is the year where things go into practical action, all right? So these eclipses are going to be happening where, yes, 2020 really triggered it, but you are going to be exploring the inner landscape of what it is that you are now. It was almost like 2019 when these Cancer eclipses started kind of flipped things upside down. And it made you go, well, who am I? What is it that I do want? I used to believe this, but now I believe this. And so this is a year where things really, they start to solidify for you at the time of the eclipses. Not only do we have that happening, we also have the Mercury retrogrades happening in these houses for you as well too. So there's a lot of mental process that's going around the past couple of years and what you've learned about yourself. All right. Very pivotal time frames are going to be March 4th to April 23rd, and then again May 9th to June 2nd, where I see you dialing back, focusing solely on you, attending to the needs of yourself and your soul. All right. Where these eclipses are making the impact this year in the 6th house of daily work and life, and then over here in the 12th house of rest and karmic balance. Okay, so let's do rest and karmic balance first. We're doing a reset here, Cancer. They're saying that it's definitely time for you to go and reflect within, do a little introspection within. Find what repetitive themes, okay, are keeping you stuck in your comfort zone. And recognize that some of these things can very well be due to past life experiences and karmic ties that no longer serve you and need to be severed and released. They need to be surrendered and released into the universe so that new beginnings can happen for you. The new beginnings can't come until you surrender and release what no longer serves you. Last year made it painfully obvious, but it's giving you a little bit of extra time to go within and recognize and release that this year. Surrender, accept, release. Okay, huge, 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 huge. But then on the other end, let's look at that 6th house, okay? 6th house has to do with daily work. All right, we're not talking about career. We're talking about just what you have to do day to day to make money in your life. It also has to do with the daily regimens in your life and your health. Because the eclipses are happening here, I see this being a major overhaul year for health in your daily schedule. I see you taking a major interest in focusing on what you put into your body. Okay, you're focusing on what you're putting into your spirit on the 12th house and the karmic situation, but you're also focusing on what you put into your physical body and how that makes you physically feel. This may also be because it does have to do with jobs. Maybe not necessarily your life purpose career, but this could definitely be a year where last year made it obvious to you that you weren't happy in your job and that a new beginning needs to occur in that. So I would certainly look to that May 9th to June 2nd time frame of being where a new beginning would be occurring for you in terms of that. But it could also be because you're taking on different types of roles or responsibilities with your career. Maybe this means furthering your education in that time frame as well. Maybe you'll be traveling for conferences or seminars, or you'll be taking some sort of online courses to further and better yourself. That also falls into that category as well. But I would definitely say that this is a year where they're telling you that if you take on some form of scheduled regimen, okay, maybe saying, I will exercise Monday, Wednesday, Friday, I don't care. That is going to benefit your soul in so many ways. So many ways, okay? These are some of the major things for Cancer in general. All right, but I'm going to look at specific birthdays in here too to let you know where specific energies are working with you. If you want to dial in deeper, of course, click on the link below and we can set up a time to do a reading for you that's more honed in and more specific. But in general, if your birthday falls between June 20th and June 23rd, tiny little window there, I know, but Jupiter is working with you. Jupiter is that planet of luck, blind luck and opportunity. It opens up windows where there used to be walls that were in your way. Jupiter is working with you to make this by far one of the most prosperous and abundant, lucky years. As long as you're following that faith inside that says, I might not see it yet, but I know it's coming. The stronger you have that mentality, the bigger the blessings will be for you in 2021. I can guarantee that. Now, if your birthday falls between June 29th and July 7th, you have Uranus working with your sun. Holy smokes, it's a push for freedom. Push for freedom and the authentic you to really come through. These things started, okay, especially for you. These things started and were triggered under the energy and the influence of the Cancer eclipses that began in 2019. You really started recognizing that the true, authentic you needed to emerge. So this year, as it works with that Cancer sun of yours, you're breaking new ground. Growth happens when you go outside of that comfort zone. Cancer represents the comfort zone. I mean, that's just what you are. But the more that you push yourself outside of it, the more that you allow Uranus, that planet of freedom and liberation, to push you outside of it, that's where you see the massive growth. All right? Independence and freedom are the keys for you this year. If your birthday falls between July 12th and July 17th, another small window of time, Neptune is working with you. Neptune is a planet of spirituality, and I tell you what, it has you majorly doing an exploration of the inner landscape. 2020 triggered it, but 2021 is where you explore without any reserve. There's nothing that will block you to let you go into the depths of feeling and emotion to get to that root of spirituality and what it means to you. That also comes through exploring your creative side. So maybe you do have a spiritual block. I tell you what, the more you access your creative side, it will work in tandem and hand in hand with your spirituality as well. So, ready to let go of the You're ready to let go of the self-protective, Cancer crab, right? The self-protective defenses that hold you back. I think what'll happen a lot of times with Cancer is that you do get stuck in those comfort zones, and you will block it with all of your might if something tries to make you change. This is a year where Neptune is asking you as well to surrender and release. We talked about that a little bit earlier. That goes very much with you. The more that you do, the more that you accept that there's growth outside of the comfort zone, that's where you'll see major change as well. So my Cancer friends, I thank you so much for watching. Know that this year is going to be working with you. Follow that intuition. Follow the cycles of the moon, because that is your ruling planet. The more that you understand the moon and the phases that it goes through, the more you can better plan your life as well too. And in this coming year, I will be having a seminar that I will be doing on our sun signs and our moon signs and how to follow them. So stay tuned for that. Have a wonderful and prosperous new year. Thank you for watching. Bye.